Hi, everyone, and welcome to For Immediate Release. This is episode 458. I'm Neville Hobson.
And I'm Shel Holtz. I read an article in Forbes the other day that pointed out that because of the role AI agents will play in the workplace, we are the last generation to manage a wholly human workforce. Now, I spend a fair amount of my time communicating with managers through a variety of channels where I work. So with all this in mind, let's take a look at the evolving role of managers in the era of generative AI and how internal communicators can support this transformation. Traditionally, managers have balanced administrative tasks, strategic planning, and people management. However, recent McKinsey research confirms that less than 30% of a manager's time is spent on people leadership, with the majority consumed by individual execution or administrative duties. With the integration of generative AI, many routine administrative tasks are being automated, enabling this profound shift that we're seeing in what managers focus on, where they spend their time. This transition transforms managers from day-to-day administrators to strategic orchestrators who can coordinate complex systems involving both human talent and AI tools, beyond simply using AI as co-pilots for their own individual tasks. And it's worth noting that remains important since there is data that shows that managers spend a heck of a lot of their time on that individual performance, that individual contribution, and not on managerial tasks. But beyond doing that, managers are now creating and managing sophisticated workflows where humans and multiple AI systems, this being the agents that we're hearing so much about, collaborate to achieve outcomes that weren't possible before. This evolution redefines quality and excellence in management, moving beyond supervision to creating environments where both human and AI capabilities can thrive cohesively. While AI handles routine tasks, managers will focus more on the uniquely human aspects of leadership, building the team's culture, fostering innovation, providing emotional support, and making ethical judgments. We'll look at the new managerial competencies and how communicators can help managers make this transition right after this. Now, this shift isn't without its challenges. Managers need to develop new competencies, including understanding AI capabilities and limitations, interpreting AI-generated data for decision-making, managing the ethics of AI implementation, fostering collaboration between human and AI team members, developing the emotional intelligence to support teams through technological change. As managers navigate through these changes, internal communicators have a pivotal role to play in facilitating a smooth transition. We do that through education and awareness, demystifying AI by providing clear, accessible information about what it is, its capabilities, its limitations. This includes creating informative content, working with the training and IT departments to develop workshops, sharing success stories across the organization. This is a change, so we should be looking at change management support. With all the conversation going on about the relevance of change management, this is a change. It does require some support. We need to highlight new managerial skills that will evolve as we move into this era. This might involve collaborating with HR to create competency frameworks or sharing resources for skill development. Feedback loops will have to be implemented, channels for continuous feedback that allow managers and employees to share their experiences. We can facilitate these mechanisms through pulse surveys, focus groups, and digital platforms where insights can be collected and acted on. And storytelling, finally, obviously sharing those narratives about how AI integration is positively affecting the organization. That can be really powerful stuff, highlighting the stories where AI has taken over mundane tasks, letting managers focus on strategic initiatives and team development. That can be really motivating and provide some practical insights for others as well. And finally, there's that issue of ethical considerations and developing those guidelines, because AI will become more integrated into management practices and will have a role in facilitating discussions about how that should be done ethically. That includes helping develop and communicate guidelines around data privacy, algorithmic bias, and ensuring human oversight remains in critical decision-making processes. So as we continue to explore this intersection of organizational communication and digital technology, collaboration between managers and communicators is really going to take center stage here sooner rather than later. And as communicators, we can navigate the complexities of this AI-driven era. We can foster workplaces that leverage technology and value that irreplaceable human touch that makes organizations really thrive.
Okay, lot to think about there. One question I have, Shel, about all of this, and I'm kind of confirmed in my thinking by looking at all the articles we've assembled that will be in the show notes that are talking about this topic in one way or another. That we talk about the last generation of managers to manage a wholly human workforce. I don't disagree with that at all. It seems very likely. But I wonder why there's this kind of fixation in the mainstream media, the tech press, in fact, anyone talking about it, that they want a graphic or an illustration to go along with the article. Why is it they always show a robot or some kind of machine that's human-like sitting typing at a computer or shaking a hand with a human being? Because that's absolutely not what we're expected to see.
No,
this is a bit of software.
It's a metaphor, Neville, it's a metaphor.
It's a bit of software, but it fixes in people's minds that your workforce is going to be robots sitting there. So how do you manage that then in the context of day-to-day work in teams that are human beings? You have your Microsoft Teams call, typically. You'll have physical meetings. So where does the AI sit in that context? Where's a scenario where you've got your AI colleague, whether it's an agentic AI assistant or whatever it might be, where does it, or are you going to call it a he or a she or a they, whatever, how does that integrate into the physical workforce that you're managing?
That is the million-dollar question. And I think the answer
which
right now
no one is asking or even answering, actually.
Well,
I don't see.
yeah, and I think that's a couple of these articles start to point to that. They make the point that if the agents can go out and do things that right now people are doing, and they're doing it using processes that take considerably longer, how do we then integrate these so that there are now workflows and processes that accommodate what those agents can do, the timelines that they can do them in? And the problem is we don't know what those agents are going to do yet. Very, very few are available. The ones that we see from HubSpot and Salesforce are fairly rudimentary at this point. I think we'll see some significant leaps this year, some really startling stuff in 2026. And then we'll be able to start to see within job categories. I mean, in the field I work in, how is it going to integrate into the actual project as it's being built? How does it integrate into pre-construction and estimating? And those people who have very long-standing, well-defined processes and workflows to do that, it's all going to be thrown into the wood chipper, right? Because with these agents doing things in minutes that used to take hours, days, weeks, months, you're going to have to come up with new workflows, and you're going to have to figure out exactly what the people do, how they do it, when they do it, to accommodate what's now available. And if there are consulting practices that will be built on this, there will be trainers who will go out and work with organizations on this. None of them exist yet because, again, we need the agents to see exactly what kind of impact it is and have some practical field experience with this.
So it seems to me that we've got things around the wrong way in that case, because all I see are lists of tasks and things that the AI, the participation of AI in your workforce team is going to have to do. So, the evolving workplace dynamics, how people do things, and looking through just some of them, enterprise applications, customer service transformation, research and data analysis, software development, cybersecurity, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. That's great. Identifying the tasks that need doing. But it seems to me that maybe the more essential task is somebody has to be talking about how will the AI fit into this without, and indeed it probably isn't without a whole scale shift and change in how teams actually work, where you've got your typical team, groups of people reporting to managers. It's not hierarchical only. It's cross fertilization of ideas. You name it. People will get together. They'll chat on the phone. They'll do text messages. They'll communicate with each other on the fly as a project is developing. Where does the AI fit in there? In the sense of you've asked your AI assistant to hey, this is what we want to do. Go and get that data. Come back to me with the top 10 things. You actually probably wouldn't have to tell it that. Go and analyze that and come back to me and tell me what you found. That might be what you want to be saying. So, but 30 seconds later, it's done that. And probably 10 seconds after that, there's your spreadsheet all prepared. And wait, hang on a minute. That's way too fast because you're not capable of this. I mean, that's an extreme example. I'm sure it isn't going to be like that. But we need to be discussing those things right now. If this is already on the horizon for people, and you've just mentioned something, I agree with you, within a year, this is going to be real, not a mass, not widespread, not universal, certainly not. But there'll be many businesses doing this already. So I just wonder the practicality of this. The ideals are fantastic. And I remember when I was at IBM, this is now nearly 10 years ago, with IBM Watson talking about the role of tools like Outlook at the time would be autonomous in terms of fixing your appointments, scheduling this and doing that kind of thing. Wonderful. But that's just one-to-one in a sense. And you can't use that effectively in a group who aren't ready for this kind of thing. So I'm just curious, I suppose, really, why is no one talking about this? You mentioned some of these articles pointed to this, but no one's actually discussing it, certainly not that I've seen outside of academia. And so when are we going to get to that in business? What about the companies that you work for, the ones that I might work for, or the clients that you might engage with? What's happening with these guys?
Early days with most companies.
Yeah.
I can tell you where I work, we have an AI committee. I'm pleased to be on it.
You mentioned that.
We have divided into subcommittees and we have objectives and goals, and we're working on it. But, I don't think there are many organizations that are routinely using agents now to
it's too
take
soon.
over a routine element of a workflow. They're just not. They haven't been deployed yet.
Hence, if you talk in your organization, say, hey, guys, this is coming. Okay, we've got AI agents coming. They're going to be doing all this work that you hate, and it's going to be wonderful because they'll give you all the results in a short period of time. So, are we ready?
No,
and they'll just
we're not ready.
bemused. So don't talk about this stuff yet then. It needs to be the other way around, I think, before we get into this for the flow, so that you can set the right expectations with everyone, actually. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, the agents are on their way, and very, very soon. And you're going to see them, as with HubSpot and Salesforce, built into products that you're already using. So it's around the corner that we're going to be able to deploy them within the organization for organizational tasks that are not part of a branded product. It's just something that we have built, or we have hired somebody to come in and build, and it does the thing that we need it to do. So I think we do need to start thinking about, we don't want to be confronted when there are suddenly agents doing things and everybody's in disarray because the workflows that we have been using for the last decade or 30 years or 50 years, depending on your industry, have just been thrown to the winds. It doesn't work based on when deliverables are happening. So it doesn't mean that we need to figure out how to do it now, but we need to let people know it's coming. Otherwise, it's just going to be a chaos and a shock.
Totally agree.
We need to be thinking about it.
Yeah, we do. We need to be telling them this is what's coming and this is what we need to do now, ready for when it's coming. But I do wonder, Shel, as well, is this perhaps also not a case of how's the best way of describing it? So of jargon overloads, that suddenly there's this phrase AI agent, and everyone's latched onto this. Hey, the agents are coming. Whereas much of what your AI agent or whatever you have been used to calling it until now, your Chat GPT, generative AI assistant maybe, is actually doing a lot of this stuff already, except it's not at scale in groups where it's all communicated across a whole team. So, for instance, I'm thinking of a number of case studies that I've read over the past year. One in particular from Microsoft talking about an advertising agency out in the Far East, out in Asia, who had a software tool that was based on artificial intelligence that would manage everyone's tasks and let everyone know the status now and again, automated. So I say to myself, think of something like Asana or one of those tools, except fully automated. And people were getting used to that and seeing great results from it, that they recognized as well that it required them to do certain things differently than they'd done before. But they didn't see that as, oh, God, I've got to do this and I don't want to do it. They wanted to do it. And I'm thinking that's where we need to be. And maybe it is partly a thing, a jargony thing. It's called AI agents, all sounds cool and blah, blah. It is missing the bit, though, that we're talking too much about the outcome without understanding how we're going to get there. That's what seems like to me.
Well, I think agent is definitely jargon, but I think there's some substance behind it. I mean, remember when we interviewed Aaron Quitkin from Profit, and what he's doing with AI and press releases. Now, if you take that to the agentic level, imagine that your company has an announcement to make. So you provide all of the details of the announcement to your AI agent, which has been trained on your media space. And it will go find all of the reporters who might be interested in reporting on that, draft a press release or press announcement or a press kit or all of the above, that each one is tailored to each reporter, produces 3 versions and 3 different tones of voice, and queues them up for distribution to those reporters and puts everything in a folder for you to go review before you choose the one you're going to send to each reporter. I mean, it's just the multiple steps that it takes without intervention, unless it has a question, in which case it asks you.
Right.
This is so much different than a chatbot box, right?
So, I get it. I get it. But it just needs to set the right expectation, I think, because that is not that's not mass market yet. And this is part of the trouble with some of these things, where the talk focuses on this is going to be with us, meaning it's universal, it's everywhere. This is what everyone's going to be doing. It won't be like that. I'm sure it won't be. It comes in small steps and in iterations, and some will do it and others will see it and they'll start doing it. This is how most things tend to happen. It's ideal. It sounds wonderful. But I think it's, to me, the expectation setting is key in that we want to get down this road and bring everyone along with us to understand this is what's coming. This is what we need to do now. So what your company is doing is a good example of that. And I'm sure many, many other companies are doing that as well. And some of these examples in these articles, the ones you shared, the ones I dug up too, miss that, actually. And they're talking all about, development of frameworks and customer service, absolute transformation in the customer experience because of this. Well, thank God, I say, anything's better than the current state of customer service with menuing, voicemail systems, all that stuff. So yet it's not yet there, and we need help to understand how real this is, but without people saying, yeah, rubbish, this isn't going to happen, because that's not right either. But it's a long way off, it seems to me, but the steps need to be taken now. Now, I'll backtrack on what I just said there, Shel, because we know that a long way off means 6 months.
Yes. Yeah, this is an accelerated world that we live in.
It is.
Yeah.
It's exciting, without any doubt. I just would hate to see that excitement, eyes glazed, because people don't see how they're going to get there. And that's the bit that we need to focus on, I think.
Yeah. And by the way, you wondered how we would deal with the AI in the meetings. I expect it won't be very long before it's just like talking to the computer in Star Trek. It's just
right.
part of the conversation,
Great.
representing all of the agents. It knows
right.
everything that's going on in that AI space and can answer any of your questions. And by the way, if teams want to start getting used to this now, one of the things they can do is start using Notebook LM. throw all of the documents for whatever it is you're working in there. And then during meetings, just start to query LM if you have a question about anything. It can answer based on any document that you have put in that notebook. So get used to having that conversation with an AI agent. It's not, it's available right now and useful.
And it's going to be everywhere sooner or later.
Yep. And that will be a 30 for this episode of For Immediate Release.